Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, this is going to be a very exciting month, the month of October. Wow. The aspects are intense, and there is a lot that's going to come down. So I just want you to know that everything is evolving for a greater good. And what I see is by the end of the month of October, there is going to be a planetary alignment that is going to bring an incredible change that represents closure, transformation, and that the truth will finally be revealed. But basically what I'm seeing happen is something good will evolve, and there's a great lesson to be learned out of something bad. So be prepared. This is going to be an amazing month. And there's something I'm very excited about this month of October is that I have my conference here in Dallas, Texas, October 25th through the 27th. It's a Vedic Astrology conference, and it is called futureofastrology.com. Check it out. You'll be amazed with the lineup of speakers. And I'm going to be delivering my 2020 predictions for the first time. This is a year that is so pivotal, so full of change, that there's nothing ever been like this, 2020. So I also want you to know that if you want a written transcript of all the dates and times and everything I'm discussing here in this video, sign up for my monthly newsletter. It's free off my website, which is galacticcenter.org. And last but not least, if you haven't checked out my new app, go check it out. It's called Joni Patry Daily Astrology. Check it out in the App Store. It will use your chart, and everything in it is interpretations that I have written. So those are some important things I want you to know about. But getting back to what's going to be happening in this month of October, there's so many planetary aspects. As I said, there's going to be a Saraswati Yoga that comes at the end of the month. Maybe I didn't say it, but at the end of October, around October 27th and through November 4th, there will be a lineup of the three benefic planets together in the sign of Scorpio. Now, let me reiterate that I am a Vedic astrologer, so everything that I'm talking about is the sidereal Vedic placements, which fall backwards about a full sign from tropical Western placements. So when I'm talking about the signs, they will be different than what you might be familiar with. But these are the true placements astronomically. So Jupiter, Venus, and Mercury, the three benefics, will be lined up in the sign of Scorpio beginning October 27th through November 4th. It's actually why I wanted my conference on that weekend. So this is called a Saraswati Yoga. Saraswati is the goddess of learning, the arts, and it deals with great learning. So a great lesson will come out of the difficulties that will be brewing throughout this month, and actually have been brewing throughout this year. Saturn has been aligned with Ketu, which is the south node of the moon. This is intense. This is extremely difficult, Saturn-Ketu conjunction. And it's been on and off. And right now, as I'm speaking, it is exact. It deals with seriousness, depression, and a lot of people have been feeling such emotion during this time. They are aligned in the sign of Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the sign that deals with spirituality. It deals with truth. But taken to an extreme, it can deal with fundamentalism and fanaticism in beliefs. So watch out. People are becoming more and more attached to that which is going to change, but they're attached to that which can't change. And as things are changing, people will become enraged. They'll become angry. They'll become upset. And a lot of this, when you deal with fanaticism concerning belief systems, this can deal with terrorism. So watch out right now as Saturn and Ketu are together. This is bringing this to the surface. But what's the big trigger this month? Big trigger is Mars. Transiting Mars is in Virgo this entire month. And as Mars is in Virgo, Virgo deals with health, deals with healing, deals with just everything to do with anything to do with health, healing, or our bodies in terms of how we eat, how we take care of ourselves. And I have said numerous times that whenever Mars is in Virgo, it deals a lot with disease. And this fall, in the Northern Hemisphere, this will be one of the worst flu seasons, I believe, in a long time. Or there can be some kind of health crises, such as some kind of viral disease that gets out. Watch for this. And the human emotion is triggering all of this radically. So be aware, but here's something that I foresee that comes out of a need, a cause, an effect, is there can be a major healing. There can be some major medical discoveries as well because of what is transpiring in the area of health, disease, and viruses and flu season. So there can be some amazing discoveries in terms of health and healing, such as progress in finding a cure to the common cold or the flu, these type of things. There's going to be some amazing discoveries. Watch and see what evolves out of this health crisis this month. And also we're in this effect through November, but October is going to be intense. Yes. So another aspect, Mars, as I said, Mars is crucial this month being in Virgo because while it's in Virgo, it's also casting a square to Saturn and Saturn's full aspect back to Mars. So Mars and Saturn are fully aspecting each other. Mars with its forward square, Saturn with its backward square from Virgo to Sagittarius. This will create major setbacks, major delays, if you're trying to get things to happen and go forward, it's going to be a month of great frustration because anytime you have Mars and Saturn aspecting one another, it's like you got one foot on the brake and one on the accelerator. You can't get anywhere. It's frustrating. So realize that as things progress in this month. But this is going to take place more around the end of October when Mars and Saturn are exact, like 21 degrees Virgo in Sagittarius, around the 27th of October. That's when they come into effect. Now, early on in the month, around October 12th, we have a serious aspect of where Uranus and Mars is going to be aspecting Uranus early in the month, and later on the month, Neptune. And actually, this aspect is called a quincunx in Western astrology, but in Vedic we call it an 8-6 or a 6-8 relationship. It deals with accidents. It deals with major events that are very difficult, almost like catastrophes. Yes, I'll say it, catastrophes. So as Mars is aspecting Uranus early in the month, this will be around the 12th. And then on October 13th, we've got the full moon. So things are brought to an awareness. There's an awakening. There's light that comes into an awareness of things that have been happening that are totally frustrating. And then by the 21st of October, Mars will go to the midpoint between Rahu and Ketu, the north and south node of the moon. These are the determinants of destiny and huge events. So Mars at a triggering point between these two represents earthquakes, earth changes, major events that are churning and turning the earth. Because let me just say, there's so much emotion out there, there's so much feeling, and everyone is affected. Everyone feels. And when people's emotions become strong and elated, let me just say this, the earth responds. The earth will shake. And there's going to be many, many storms. I'll explain why. This month with Mars at the midpoint of Rahu and Ketu. And this takes place around the 21st. And then by the end of the month, we have major things brewing and churning and burning. Why? Because Jupiter will be Gandanta. It's going to be in the last degrees of Scorpio, a water sign. And this is the most vile, the most intense. And astrologers seem to think that this is one of the darkest, hardest parts of the zodiac in the sky. Because why? It is in the tail of the scorpion. So we put Jupiter there. And it's Gandanta. Gandanta brews with things that deal with water and drowning and floods and storms. You're going to see more storms. And additionally, with Jupiter being in Gandanta, realize we also have Rahu in the nakshatra that deals with Ardra, that deals with treachery. It can deal with tragedy. So with Rahu in Ardra, Ardra is ruled by the storm god Rudra, which is the howling wind in the storm. So let me just say, the end of the month, everything kind of surfaces and peaks, and with this surfacing, guess what? The truth comes out. We finally have some answers to all the hidden agendas, all the hidden secrets. This is all coming out now. This will be a revelation. This is the month, I gotta say, of major, major revelations. This is exciting. And yes, there's going to be a lot of chaos. There always is with radical shifts and changes. But at least things are visible and we know what we're looking at finally, instead of being in the dark. So Mars will come up around the 27th also, 27th, 28th, and it will come up and it will form a quincunx, which is a 6-8 relationship with Neptune. And when Mars aspects Neptune, it is about disease, it is about hidden truths, it is about secrets and denials that surface. Mars is a trigger, it's energy, and Mars is in a pivotal point this month that surfaces everything. Now let me say this, Mars with Neptune, this will deal with disease potential. It will deal with truth. It will deal with an uncovering. But let me say, with Mars with Neptune, we'll see a big change and difference. So after that, and you know, Neptune and Uranus do deal with earthquakes. Both of them, yes. Neptune, Poseidon sends his spear to the ocean floors, and this makes them shake. So what essentially I'm saying is Mars is going to be in a position that creates what we call a yod, which is also referred to as the finger of God. So with Mars trigger forming a yod to Uranus and Neptune, this is a true awakening. And let me just say this, on the 27th of this month, of October, we are going to have the new moon that is exactly opposed Uranus. Now, Uranus is definitely called the Great Awakener. And I will assure you that by the end of this month, we will be awakened to things that we never thought we'd see, right? So it is the great awakener. And we'll be pretty much shocked at what is being revealed by October 27th and the 28th and on through November 4th, because there's another event that's happening meanwhile throughout this month. When all the planets are on one side of Rahu in Ketu, it's called a Saraswati Yoga. And this has been going on and off as the moon goes in where all the planets are. We have the Serpa, where all the planets are on one side of Rahu and Ketu. But then when the moon separates on the other side, it's not the Saraswati Yoga. But let me just say this, that right now, let's see, between now and October 6th, there is a Saraswati Yoga going on. What does that mean? It means that everything becomes more intense. There's this great intensity of events. Everything seems out of control. And then when the moon goes out of the confines of Rahu and Ketu, where all the other planets are contained, it leaves the Serpa. So sort of like it leaves this destiny-oriented place in the zodiac. But once the moon rejoins all the other planets, this will be October 19th, and it will last till about November, 3rd. So it lasts for about 2 weeks, then we get a break, then another 2 weeks it's on. So this will be intense. Wait and see how things this month are unbelievable, really. This is an unbelievable, eventful month. Now, on a good note, Venus will be in Libra almost this entire month. So from about October 3rd through the 27th, Venus will be in Libra. What is that all about? Venus in Libra is about relationships, healing, and setting things straight within our relationships. So if there has been something that has been nagging you or not working out well in your relationships, your marriage or partnerships, this is the month it will all come together and you can clear things, balance things. Because here's another thing, we have so many planets in the sign of Libra. Libra's all about balance. The symbol is the scales. And what's happening is this month, everything's becoming so out of balance. And what happens when things are out of balance? Nature has a way to bring balance back. So you're going to find that storms, earthquakes, all of these natural disasters, they're in essence a way to bring balance back, not only to the earth, but humanity. And that's one thing I want you to think about, balance, because that's a key to life. But let me just say this, that if your life is not working the way you think it should, you're out of balance. And what can you do to bring that balance back? Realize that everything that you put out, everything, whether it's your emotion, your connections, whether you're loving, kind, grateful, appreciative, if you put that out, it comes back. This is called the law of cause and effect. This is karma, but it essentially is the law of nature. What you put out will be returned to you. So if you're putting out fear, anger, resentment, guess what's going to come back at you? No, it is not that people are attacking you. It's what you put out that's coming back to you. So you have the ability to change that. That's the beautiful part of this. And this is a month that you can realize that. Look at how you are responding, what you're putting out there. And this is how we're going to change what's going on out there in the world. Because remember, I know I say this many times, but the outside world is a reflection of our inside world. If you don't like what you see, change how you respond. This will change your world and consequently reverberate and have an effect on planet Earth. We need this because things are out of control this month, especially when we think about what's going on in the political world. What in the world is going on? Every time we turn around, there's some kind of major fight of the political controls trying to gain power back. Whether it's one side or the other, it's essentially what it is. And it's almost like you can talk about the good and the evil forces that fight each other. It's almost like the Devas and the Asuras. That whole myth revolves around this give and take and the opposites that fight against one another to gain what? Power. With the myth, it's immortality. And I might say that the Asuras in the end kind of got duped by the Devas. If you know anything about the mythology, I'm talking about the Hindu mythological representation of our world. But going back to what's happening in this world, you know, I tend to look at, I looked at President Trump's chart, and with everything that's happening with this big, enormous fight that's going on between the Democrats and the Republicans, I have to say this, that during this time, while President Trump has his moon at 28 degrees of Scorpio, I'm talking the sidereal Vedic chart, and his sun at 29 degrees of Taurus, guess what is aspecting his moon and his sun right now? Jupiter. So what do I feel? Astrologically, he will come out well from all of this. But once Jupiter transits into the sign of Sagittarius, things will change for him because he doesn't have the protection of Jupiter. Jupiter in the sign of Sagittarius is going to come together with what? K2 in 2020. What is that? K2 is spiritual, is something that spiritualizes, but Jupiter with K2 is going to bring a spiritual revelation to the world. But many will fight back because there are so many people that are going to hold on to their old beliefs and not be ready for the transformational change. This is going to cause a world of chaos. And may I say this too, when Saturn and Pluto come together, this is always about a breakdown of the old for the new, a major transformation. Pluto is explosive. And let me just say that Saturn is the old representation in government. While Pluto and Saturn come together, there will be a breakdown of the old past karmas, the old past patterns that do not uphold to the future. So there's going to be a breakdown in government. There's going to be breakdown in the old ways. A transformation. That's what Jupiter, that's what Pluto's all about. That's what's coming. But also, very interesting, Pluto and Saturn are parallel right now. And by November 4th, they will be exactly, November 5th, they will be exactly parallel. Guess when they were parallel before to their degree? And when I say parallel, by the way, I mean they're lined up in declination. And it's very interesting, declination is the same whether you're talking about sidereal Vedic astrology or Western tropical astrology. The declinations are the same. And Pluto and Saturn are aligned. The last time they were aligned was during the 2016 elections. I think that's fascinating. So imagine that. That's what's re-emerging now. And Pluto and Saturn will conjunct about the third week of January. Major transformations in this world. So bringing it back to what else is going to be happening at the end of this month? I mean, we have got Saturn and Mars squaring each other. We have got Mars at the midpoint of Rahu and Ketu. and forming a yod to both Uranus and Neptune. And what else do we have? We have a Saraswati Yoga with Jupiter coming together with Venus and Mercury in Scorpio, which will bring out something good, something relevant that needs to happen, that needs to heal, to bring the truth out, to bring resolution, to bring balance and healing to the world. This is what's going to happen by the end of this month. It's all going to culminate and come to a head, and something wonderful will happen. And you know what we will call it? Maybe not right now, but later, a blessing in disguise. That's how it all comes together. That's how it works. And to top it off, on the last day of the month, October 31st, guess what happens? Mercury turns retrograde to top it off. Mercury turns retrograde at about 3 degrees of Scorpio, but then it's going to spend most of its retrograde movement in the sign of Libra, which brings peace, balance. That's what we need from all of this chaos. So as we have Mercury, remember the day it turns retrograde, everything kind of shifts and changes. So be prepared. Make sure your car is checked out. Mercury retrograde causes problems with machinery. Make sure your computer and technology is all okay. But in Libra, also make sure that your communications are clear, because in Libra, this is an opportunity that you can really heal some issues you might be having in your relationships. And it's very, very important, because really, we've come here in this lifetime to heal our relationships with family, with friends, with our partners. Please use this time wisely to review, to analyze, reflect, and heal the issues that you're battling with your relationships. Be transparent. Heaven knows that's what's going to bring this awakening and to surface things from the deception, the denials. Yes, the denials of everything that's been. Everything that you believed may be uncovered that it's all wrong. Not everything, but a lot. So be ready and be prepared and be open to have an open mind, an open heart, because we all are here for the purpose of growth, and we're all growing to improve and create a better world. So I think I've covered everything. There was just so much going on this month astrologically that I want to make sure that I had everything that I wanted to tell you together. And last but not least, finally the sun will separate from Mars. Remember I said the sun and Mars, they travel together for about 3 or 4 months. And then when they finally separate, so does a lot of the anger and frustration that Sun-Mars brings together. It's a heated anger and frustration. But the Saturn squaring Mars is the most pressing, difficult aspect of this month. And bear with it, because it's got something very important that will come about that we're here to learn this very month. Recognize that the truth will be known, and it could be very shocking. It could be very shocking, but it's going to, something good comes out of something bad. That's what I'll leave you with. So with that, I'd like to close. If you would like to learn more about me, or you would like a reading, you can go to my website, which is galacticcenter.org. Or if you would like to learn Vedic astrology, you can go to my online university website, which is University of Vedic Astrology.com. Thank you.